Okay. Okay, so speaking of the switch, like for me, the fact that I have to actually just switch, like I'm thinking about myself, putting my hand on a light switch, flicking it on or off, like that transitional period is so hard for some people's brains and bodies that, like there are plenty of people that don't think about it and they're great and like fantastic. But for the people that struggle with that, give yourself grace. Like that takes a fuck ton of energy and that's okay. And like Stella, like you were saying, like it's this ebb and flow and you gotta pull off the parkway or the freeway and then you gotta park and all of these things. And all of those have different processes, different systems, different thoughts, different narratives, different ideas. They elicit different thoughts and feelings in order to get to that action. And, even just saying it, I feel a little bit overwhelmed. And every day is 100 of those things. And it's okay if you feel overwhelmed. I think breaking it down into smaller steps, I always say chunk it out. If something feels too big, it's too big. Make it a little smaller. If you can't start, maybe you do need to binge Netflix, you need to curl up. Maybe you just need to make it into a smaller chunk so you can start. Fed is best. So, what is the bare minimum that you can start on today? Or do you need to do it tomorrow? And only you will know that answer. And every day it will be different. So, I'm curious to hear some of your personal resources or general resources that you use to get through that. I'm trying to think of some things that have helped me through the years. Like I am a pen and paper girl, so guided journal type things, actually making a list. I have my weekly calendar, my monthly calendar. I even have a calendar on my fridge that is 2 months at a time. But I've literally created a chore chart for my grown adult household. We don't have kids, but like we both need it in order to make sure somebody is doing the dishes. So going back to some of the basics, the bare minimum, I think is really helpful that once you get out, you get out of your parents' house typically and you're like, I don't need that. I didn't grow up with a chore chart, but believe me, I would have loved it. So I think having just some bare minimum things, I mean, you can get a chore chart on Etsy, you can find one on Pinterest, you can make one yourself. I think that those are some really easy starting points for some people,
Mhm.
depending where you're at with that. Um, but understanding your thoughts and feelings. Therapy is a great resource, or maybe even just trusted friends. Obviously, you're going to get different levels of processing and, different levels of biases depend on who you're talking to. But just starting at the bare minimum, I think, is a really good place to start. Um, I don't know. What about you? What are your go-tos?
I think, yeah, starting at the bare minimum and knowing yourself is definitely the bare minimum of
Yes.
understanding how to go on, because if you don't know what you need, like if you don't learn who you are, what you need, like emotionally, physically to feel safe and to feel empowered, right? You're going to be at the mercy of all the external factors that influence you. And it's hard to stick to those kinds of things if it doesn't fit you. Like if it doesn't feel like it fits. Like, I just worked in the oil and gas industry for 10 years and I could do it, but I was just masking constantly because it wasn't like I'm not like, yay, oil and gas, rah rah. Like it was a job to me. It was something that gave money. And so for me, the biggest start is as a business owner, on this new journey again, as a brand new business owner, I ask myself every day, like, how much time do I want to put into once I finally get it into maintenance mode, right? Like, how much time do I want to spend on maintaining my business? You're going to have seasons of your business. There's going to be ramp up stuff where you're going to have to give more. You're going to have to give more energy, more time. There's a longer lead up. It takes as long as it takes, right, to get things off the ground. And so just giving yourself, like you said, the grace and the acceptance that you don't have all the answers and you can't expedite that. You can't fast forward that. There's a lot of discovery work that has to happen to ensure that, yes, this is the path I set myself. I've checked left, right. Okay, I'm still on the right path, right? You have to have these pauses
Mhm.
to do so, but like reaching out to people, like you said, that are congruent with you. Like, oh, I like the way you run your business. I like that your social media is really simple. It's really effective to me. It doesn't,
Jeez.
it's not super flashy, it's not super overwhelming. Like what are some things that you do to do this? And maybe I can see if it's something that I can do too.
Mhm.
Right. But it starts with knowing what your limits are. Like I'm not really a video person. Like video like overwhelms me. Like it's so much. There's all the I'm learning how to do reels and I know you have to do that like, but that's not the majority of the type of content I'll probably be posting on my socials because I'm more like a reading person. I
Yeah.
am a pencil and paper person. So for big picture planning, I will like brainstorm things out and then I'll schedule like non-negotiables like on my calendar, like this is a hard deadline or this is a meeting or whatever, things that can't move, like they'll go there. But anything that can be fluid throughout the day has to be on pen and paper so I can scratch it out or make notes or add or whatever. And I just have to allow myself to be flexible because every day can change, every week can change, every hour can change. Like if I get a call from my sister and she's in trouble, like I'm going to drop what I'm doing and I'm going to go rescue her, right? So knowing how much time you have and how much energy you have every day, and just making sure that you work within that, but also understand that things can happen to like knock all that off the table. And then how do you get back onto it, right? So do you have things in front of you in black and white, or is it easier for you to have things digitally? Like I feel like too much digital stuff, too many reminders is too overwhelming, and now it's something telling me what to do, and so I get rebellious,
Yep.
on it. I have that defiant streak, and so it's like I've had to learn like what things are okay digital reminders and what things are best to just leave it for when I'm ready to check in with my list so that I know like what's next for what to do. And
Yeah.
just anytime you feel overwhelmed to just pause, like just stop. Like, why am I feeling overwhelmed? Is it my business? Is it something else going on in my life? Do I just need to step away from it and give myself permission to do so? Because I found that the days that I did walk away from my business, I would be so much more inspired by my life or listening to something or like just hearing stuff on the radio or just taking a walk. And then I want to jump back in, right? Like maybe you've just been working too long and you're just running on fumes. And so knowing when to start and when to stop, I think are the biggest things that will be helpful for a business owner, whether you're new or whether you're seasoned, like knowing where your limits are. And again, like knowing if maybe it's time to start expanding and maybe I just need to start writing this stuff down so that I can.
Sure. Yeah. And knowing your limits is hard, but I think it goes back to the fundamental basics of being a human. Listening to your thoughts and your feelings, listening to your body. It'll whisper before it screams at you. And even if it gets to the point where it's screaming and you're sick and you can't move, give yourself permission to rest so you can pivot and, use that information to move forward. Um, and figure out what it looks like. My lists, I don't write a list on the fridge every day, but on the days where my brain is so overwhelmed, I know that that's a day I'm going to pick up my little marker and I'm going to write out like I need to do the laundry and whatever. And I write out every step for the laundry. It's not just do the laundry, it's a cold load and then put that in the dryer and then fold it and then put that away and whatever. And it's like, it's not just doing the laundry, that's 6 steps.
But like you get a little dopamine hit every
Oh,
time you
yeah.
stop.
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay, put the cold load in the washer and then put the cold load in the dryer
Mhm.
and then fold the cold load and then put the the towels like and
Mhm.
all of these things like whatever helps you get going, whatever helps you gain momentum, right? Like and that's part of the transition stuff. Like you hear a lot of people say, oh, pick the one thing or the top three things in your day to do and just focus on those three things. But for a neurodivergent brain, that one thing could actually be 23
Right.
sub things. And so for me, like it's too big an elephant to eat. Like, what do I have to do? Like, first find an elephant. Like, it
Right.
sounds dumb, but like you can't eat an elephant if you don't have one. So
Yep.
find an elephant, like have the proper devices in order to like capture said elephant. Like, like how do
Hmm.
you store the elephant after you've done the thing? Like, do you have a big enough fridge? Like, and so just all those kinds of things that overthinkers like tend to stop them in their tracks, and that's what stops them from taking their first step. And so like what you're saying, like brain dumping everything, like what is it going to take, what are the materials, like what am I going to need, like what are ingredients, like equipment, like what, the time, right, or the expertise. Like if I don't have the expertise, I have to research it, or I have to phone a friend, or all these things take a set amount of time. And and that's one of the things I teach with the processes for the business owners is it's not just a checklist of what to do, but like how long does each thing really take? And you as a business owner that you've been doing it forever and ever, it's going to take you X amount of time, but somebody new to it might take 3 or 4 times longer. You have to build that into your schedule. You have to build it in until they can like become more proficient, right? And then you can have more space that they can add more to their plate. But I hear a lot of business owners go, "Oh, I tried to hire a VA and it just didn't work." And I'm just like, well, what were the expectations that they would operate just like you from day one? Like that's unrealistic. It's no wonder you were disappointed, right? So, knowing who you are, knowing what the standard is, documenting the process, and giving grace to the person you're handing this process off to, that's going to be your first step towards being able to scale your business.
Absolutely. So if somebody's listening and they are trying to scale their business, how could they get access to what you use?
I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
Again, like I'm still brand new and I'm still really, I feel so old. Like things have changed so much in 10 years since I first ran a business that I'm just like reels, like stories, like, oh my God, that didn't exist 10 years ago. And so I'm relearning how to be social in this social culture.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, the core has to be the same, the connectivity of it. Like social media should be emphasis on social.
Mhm.
And so I'm on Instagram, Scale with Stella. I'm on Facebook, also Scale with Stella. I just launched my podcast 2 weeks ago, and so you can find it on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and when you go to Amazon Music, they also put you on Audible. So I just screenshotted my podcast on Audible this morning, and I was like, I'm
Congrats.
on Audible. Like it's just so surreal. I was like, that's
Yeah.
me. That's me. Like it feels so it's real. Like it's concrete, it's tangible. And so it's just like, okay, there's no going back now. So it's called Worth the Squeeze, a small business podcast. And so I talk, it's only the first couple, so it's all like introductory kind of stuff. But I'll be talking about, are you doing things that suit you, right? That are congruent with you, right? Or are you doing things because that's what, some influencer on TikTok told you to do? And if you're doing these things, is it worth the squeeze for you and your clients, right? Because your clients should be an extension of you. And if it's not serving you, chances are it's probably not going to serve your clients either. And so you're sowing these seeds of confusion and doubt, which is going to impact your ability to truly scale where you are because people don't know if they want to go on this journey with you. They're going to be like, I got off I got on the train and I got off again because it seemed like it was going to zigzag over here and I'm going to zig here. And it's just like, it's not going to be a long-term relationship. Like we had our first date, like we're good. Like
I
I'm done. And speaking of first dates, like, so I have a freebie on my website right now, www.scalewithstella.com. And one of the biggest things that I want business owners to start doing from day one is building a newsletter. Because that is going to be your first salesperson, right? Like if you are a solo business owner, like you can't afford to really hire people and they're not going to have the same passion as you when you talk about your business and the way it helps people. And so it's scary to start a newsletter because like some people get overwhelmed by the idea of it. They're like, oh, if I do it, I have to send it every day, or I have to, put all these sales or coupons, and I'm a small business. I can't afford to do that. And so just getting people started with the idea of building a structure around it, right? Starting a process for it. Like you want to have, a quarterly goal or a monthly goal or like an annual goal, and then just break it up. Like you said, chunk it, like put it into tiny little bits and have your little, brainstorming. And then you have your, planning, and then you do the outlines and all this stuff. And then there's like a list of ideas for like brand building, because that's the easiest thing for you to talk about is yourself and your brand. Why are you doing this? You should know. And if you don't know, like time to sit with yourself and ask, why am I doing this besides money? And so getting those things out the door, which should be kind of like low barrier of entry things, like will get them into the habit of incorporating the newsletter process into their business from the start. And then that way, as they grow, they can leverage that to scale bigger if they need to. And it's not like, oh my gosh, I've been running a business for 3 years and I have 6,000 people on my Facebook and now I'm starting a newsletter and it feels kind of defeating
Sure.
because it feels like you're talking into a void. There's like nobody to talk to. And so if you grow the both of them together, you'll be able to not just share things with people, but get feedback from them at the same time to ensure that as you zig your business, your clients are also zigging with you and you're not going completely out of left field. And so there's just so many purposes for it. So it's called the Annual Newsletter Planning Workbook. And so it's got tons of worksheets, like I'm a worksheet fanatic. It's got ideas. It's got a list of platforms that you can host newsletters on. And if you download the PDF, all the links are clickable. So it's less decision fatigue with having to search all these things and check them all out. So hopefully it's something to help you get started on having a newsletter if you don't already have one.
Oh, I love all of that. All of those links will be, in the, I don't know, below. All of those below.
Yes.
And speaking as somebody that's starting my own newsletter, it can be really overwhelming. It can also be really exciting. So, if you're looking to start a newsletter, definitely look up what Stella has. If you're interested in reading some newsletters, I think we both have some. If you're even just stuck with the idea of decision fatigue, I've created a freebie. It's a quick guide to help anybody that's feeling overwhelmed, stuck in decision fatigue, not sure what to do, slow down and go from there. So, for all the people pleasers, the perfectionists, the overthinkers out there, whether you're just trying to get through life on a personal level or you're trying to build your own business, Scale with Stella has a lot of great resources, and I hope you follow us both, and we have more to offer.
Yeah, come talk to us. We're all in this boat together, right?
Yeah, we need more people in our circles that are looking to explore their values. Even if you don't know what they are yet, we want to talk to people that are trying to figure it out because we are too.
Yep. Yeah, we're not perfect either, I promise.
Oh my gosh, no, we're trying to be anti-perfect, trying to just be messy and get it going.
Yes, progress over perfection, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, Stella, thank you so much for talking with me. It has been awesome. Any last thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns?
No, I'm excited and I want to go get your freebie now. So,
Awesome. All righty. Well, thank you.
okay, thank you.
Bye.